Hi book friends, welcome back to Books and Tea Time, or welcome if this is your first time here. Today is the second half of my Blackathon vlog. Now, when I originally recorded this, I meant for this entire vlog to be one vlog, but I ran into some technical difficulties, and if I would have done that, it probably would have been over an hour. So I decided to cut it into two little vlogs, and this is part 2. I am recording this intro clip way in the future. It's technically March. The readathon is technically over. I just wanted to record a quick intro clip to let you know what the hell was going on, and also to say that the next clip is hella sad. I get kind of in my feels in the next clip, and I thought it would be not a good idea to lead off the vlog with that information. So yeah, if you haven't seen part 1, I'm gonna link a card up so you can watch that, because a lot of what happens in this is related to what happens in that earlier one, because again, they're kind of meant to be experienced as a one whole kind of a deal. So I hope you guys enjoyed part 1 if you watched it, and I hope you guys enjoyed part 2. I finish a ton of books in this part of the vlog, which is really, really good. So yeah, enjoy the rest of the vlog, and peace out. Hi friends, it's officially Thursday night. I have had one of the worst weekends and weeks ever, and I'm really trying to keep my spirits up and be exciting on camera for you guys, but my life is just not corresponding with that right now. So full transparency, some of you might know if you watch my previous vlogs that I am a senior English literature major, and I'm applying to graduate school to pursue my degree. My dream job is to become a professor, and I applied to 5 schools, and so far I have been rejected by 2. I mean, it sucks. Being rejected is awful, and I didn't even want to talk about it at first. I mean, I really didn't want to admit to the public world that I was rejected, but I mean, I was, and I'm waiting on 3 more schools. And it's just been a lot. It's been a really, really shitty time. I'm really trying to not let that affect this vlog, because I'm still enjoying doing the challenges, but I'm already behind again on the challenges. I was supposed to dress up yesterday as a character, get an outfit that matched a character from a book. I still plan on doing that hopefully tomorrow if I can. I'm gonna extend this vlog a couple extra days, and we're gonna try and juice as much content out of it as we can. I'm gonna read and try and finish at least 1 book and do the rest of the challenges. I just won't be doing them on the correct days because I'm a mess. Right now, I am enjoying a beverage. An adult beverage. I don't typically like wine, but this is really sweet, so I'm feeling it. I'm gonna drink this wine, and I'm going to try and remake my West African lime cake correctly this time. I got 2 limes, so I think that with the added lime, I'm probably gonna have the actual correct quantity that you would get if you actually had one of those juicy devices, and hopefully the batter will be a little less terrible, because I really messed it up the first time, at least in my opinion, because I know what it's supposed to look like and it just didn't look right. So right now I'm going to try and remake my West African lime cake, and we'll see how that goes. And then I'm going to finish up some homework, and then I'm going to read. And before I sit down to go to bed, I'm going to update you guys and give you a much long overdue update of the books that I'm reading right now. So Conjure Woman, I started the lesson last night, so that's really exciting, and I also finished 1 extra book, so we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but for right now, I just wanted to come on and be real with you and tell you guys that life kind of blows right now, but I love you, and I love making content, so this is kind of keeping my mind off of things. Okay, y'all, this time I busted out the KitchenAid. I'm not messing around. We're getting this cake right. Ingredients, recipe. Let's do this. Okay, y'all, this time I think we killed it. I mean, am I right or am I right? Hi, y'all. Okay, so we're back in front of the bed because it's that time. It's a time at night. My phone's back here. It is 12:20. I'm gonna do a little bit of reading before I go to bed. I don't have class tomorrow, but I have 2 meetings tomorrow, and I just have to kind of prep for the weekend. As promised, I'm here to finally tell you what the hell I'm reading and how I'm feeling about it. Spoiler alert, I'm feeling great. So I'm currently reading 2 books right now. The first one is Conjure Woman by Afia Adekora. This is a story that follows 3 women, mainly, like 3 perspectives, and it jumps in time. I love narratives that jump in time. Actually, the other book that I'm going to talk about, all 3 books I'm talking about, jump in time. I'm just clearly attracted to these kinds of books, but it takes place before and directly after the Civil War in the South, and we're following a mom and daughter. Mostly we're following the daughter's perspective from like when she was young and her mother was still alive versus today where she's older and her mother has passed, and her relationship to conjuration and healing and that type of like magic practice, like kind of magical realism but also kind of a little fantastical. And the third woman is a white woman who grew up on the plantation where Rue, our main character, and her mother, Miss May Bell, were enslaved. So Verena is like the kind of third perspective that we get. She is almost exactly the same age as Rue, so like when they were growing up, they would interact a lot because they were children of the same age. So I am literally like 10 pages from the halfway point in this book, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The writing is just so beautiful. From the very first page, I fell in love with the writing style, and I have a highlighter in here because I've been highlighting all of the like nature, floral, and conjuration imagery, I guess you could say. It's just, this book is like flourishing from the page and so vivid and beautiful. I'm trying to find the example that I wanted to... Oh yes, okay, this is the example that I love. It's from page 33, if you have your own copy. It says, "Trees remember," Rue's mama would say, and so it was. The trees behind the house remembered the war and its bitter end, that southward march of the Yankee soldiers, and the destruction that was part of their style of victory. I love the idea that like trees have memory, water has memory, all those things, and that like the natural landscape has memory. Oh, that was just so beautiful. So I put a little tab there. But yeah, so I'm taking this slowly and really just enjoying the words on the page. However, I also have the audiobook for this because I take a lot of walks with my dog, so I like to have an audiobook available going all the time, and the audiobook was available at my library, so I got it from my library. So I'm kind of doing a read and listen kind of a thing, and it's going really well so far. I'm absolutely loving this book. Oh, but I didn't really even tell you what the plot is about. So at the beginning of this book, Rue gives birth to a baby boy who has all black eyes, and people in the town are starting to think that he is somehow her like witch's familiar, or that he is like a bad omen, and that Rue has brought down negative energy on their like community because all of the other children and even kind of older people are taking sick and dying. So that's kind of what we're following, is her trying to figure out how to detract the blame from her because she didn't actually do these things, but she's also got her own secrets that she's trying to protect, but she also wants to protect this baby boy who she brought into the world as like a midwife. The second book I just started 2 nights ago, and that is The Lesson, which is the group book for the science fiction fantasy team for Blackathon. I am really enjoying this. I just saw that Jesse finished this book and gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and they said in their most recent vlog that it might be their favorite book of Blackathon, so I'm really looking forward to it. I'm only on page 54, so I haven't really immersed myself, but from page 1 I was intrigued. So we're following multiple people, although like a close-knit people. Again, this takes place on the Virgin Islands, and an alien race comes to invade this community. And, or well, I guess they invade the whole world. An alien race called the Yana, I think that's how you would pronounce it, Y-N-A-A. They come, they're super advanced aliens, and they come and don't really take over Earth. There's like peaceful relations between humans and these creatures, but they are violent, and they're not opposed to killing humans who provoke them. That's all I've really gotten so far, but what's interesting is you start, the very first chapter counts down from like 15 days before the invasion till right before the invasion, and during those 15 days you're kind of seeing the relationships between these characters. It's two families for the most part, and each character is going through their own internal crisis and their own internal problems, and you're also seeing their relationship with each other. And then chapter 2 is like 5 years after this invasion first happened. So I really like that time jump, and that we're following a couple different people. There's already a lot of interesting things going on with the alien invasion. Like two of our main characters are really interested in like the history of the Yana people being in the Virgin Islands. They're studying like film and fiction adaptations of people writing about this group of aliens in their world, and then they're studying it. It's just a really intricate system that Cadwell Turnbull, the author, that Turnbull is already unweaving for us. So I'm really interested in this. I think I'm going to read a little bit more of this tonight, and I'm going to try and prioritize this weekend because it's only 250 pages, and because it's like a sci-fi but also a little bit thriller-esque, I think I'm really going to fly through it. And then the third book that I have to talk about is an audiobook that I listened to throughout the beginning of this week. This audiobook was not on my list, but let me just tell you what it is first. So I listened to Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson, and I listened to this for two reasons. Firstly, because it was available at my library and I needed an audiobook to listen to on my walks, and I've heard great things about Tiffany D. Jackson, so I picked it up and downloaded it to my phone and I listened to it, but also because this month the book club pick for the Late Night Book Club, hosted by Joel from Fictional Fates, Elias from Elias Reads, and Noel Gallagher, their like book club where they do live streams, they're doing Grown this month. So I wanted to read it for that so that I could go to the live show and like engage in the conversation about the text. So I decided to pick it up, even though it was not on my Blackathon TBR, and it's a thriller, and I'm on the science fiction fantasy team. So I'm kind of all over the place, but I really, really loved this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, and it was a really great book, but I'm gonna tell you right now, it is hard to read. This book was so heavy and emotionally weighty, like the kind of heavy that sits with you for days and weeks after you have put the book down. And Tiffany D. Jackson actually includes the content warnings at the beginning of the book, which I absolutely love, because I do think it's really important that if you're going to be triggered by the domestic violence and the representation of sexual assault and sexual abuse, that you are prepared for that, because this story is so hard to read, and I mean, Tiffany D. Jackson does an excellent job with it. This book is about a young girl named Enchanted Jones. She has a very, very beautiful voice. She's gifted as a singer. She is just such a wonderful and beloved main character. She, I think, is like a junior in high school at the beginning of the book, and she auditions at this show, and she meets this very, very, very rich and popular older singer named Corey Fields. He and his record label offer to mentor her or groom her and get her out in the world as a singer. But really the driving force of the narrative, what really gives it that like thriller quality, is the very beginning of the book. You find out Corey Fields is dead, and Enchanted wakes up at the murder scene and she has no idea what happened. So the entire time you're bouncing, you get like these small snippets of the present, and then you go back for like 5 chapters to the past, and you find out how she got in this position, what happened to get her there, and then you go back to the future again, and it's just like Back to the Future. Oh my god. Again, that heaviness, like it's not like you're propelling yourself through the narrative because you want to know who did it or something like that. You just like, you're almost anxious for Enchanted, and you just want to get to a point where you can hope that, you know, there's a happy ending and everything's okay, and unfortunately that's not, you know, the reality a lot of the time. But another thing that I really loved about this book is for the most part, it's told from Enchanted's perspective, but there are also these really interesting snippets of like text conversations between people, or there's this whole chapter that transcribes her parents' voicemails that she sends to her. These interesting added pieces of narration that offset and complement the like standard narration. I don't know if I'm making sense. I really love this book. If you read the content warnings and you feel comfortable reading it, I really think that you should. I definitely am gonna plan to read more Tiffany D. Jackson in the future. I've heard a couple of her other books are really good. Yeah, right now I am gonna read some more of the lesson and inevitably pass out. So, good night, sleep tight, don't let the bedbugs bite. Peace. Hi friends! Okay, it is Friday and I have makeup on for the first time in like 100 years because right after I film this clip I'm going to do one of the challenges that I'm behind on. The 3 challenges I have left are to wear an outfit inspired by a book character, and that's what I'm going to do today. That's part of the reason why I have the red lip on. So I'm going to do that. And then the second challenge is to draw a character and see if people can guess who you drew. And then the third one is, it's 2 options. One is you could watch or listen to this podcast and read a scary story, but since I'm a baby, I'm going to do the second option, which is to shout out Black artists that you follow, and I have 2, and I'm going to do something special added on to that as well. I reached page 100 of the lesson last night. I'm flying through. It's so exciting, so fun. I definitely think I'm going to be able to finish that this weekend because I'm just flying through it and it's so good. And I want to know what happens. So I think I'm going to be able to fly through that, which is really cool. But also, something that I just wanted to do real quick. You saw last night I remade my West African lime cake, and it turned out so much better this time. One of the things I wanted to do, since I failed my Black history and Black lit trivia quizzes so miserably, and because I chose to make a West African lime cake, I thought it would be fun for me to share just some West African themed trivia of my own that I learned via searching the web with you guys, because I wanted to make sure that I, actually explained and learned a little bit about West African culture and not just make a cake that is from West Africa. So the reason that I decided to do something from West Africa and that cuisine is because I took a class 2 or 3 years ago when I was a sophomore about West Africa and the era of the slave trade, and I learned a lot about the history of West Africa before and then how post-colonially West Africa is affected today. And I've read a lot of authors from different countries in West Africa, but I want to read more from authors in all of the countries in Africa in general, but specifically in West Africa to start. I'm going to do some book theme stuff, but first I found this article. This was actually after I had made the lime cake for the first time, but I found this article called How to Bake Lime Cake West African Style from a website called Afrogist Media. And I wanted to read just some of the fun facts about how people in West Africa enjoy their cake and how they make their cake, because I thought that that would be a nice added touch to making the cake. I will have all of the articles and things that I'm referencing in the description box so you guys can check them out yourself, and there is a recipe attached to this one. So it says, you can easily tell an African style cake by their texture. Make them one of those extremely softies American cakes and most Africans will lose interest in a wink. To them, the true experience of a perfect cake is not only felt in sugar splurge, but also in the perfect texture. So that's fact number 1 about the taste. But there's a little paragraph about when to enjoy your lime cake, and it says that one secret about enticing sugary treats like lime cake is that it's best when taken after lunch. This allows the body to burn fats at night. For kids, they can take them in the morning or after meals since they need energy. So I thought that was a cool thing to know when people typically in West Africa are eating their lime cake. Something also interesting about this recipe is that it says that you can either do 1 glass of honey or sugar. So honey is like a substitute for sugar. And also something that I didn't do was that sometimes people crush peanuts and use that as like a garnish for the top of their West African lime cake. So that's some specific lime cake trivia, not really trivia, but like information. The other thing that I found, which was really interesting, is an article by a person named Uju Onyishi. This person listed books from every country in Africa, and so they have every single country. Some of them have several books, some of them just have one. I am just going to read the examples that they give for West Africa, but if you're interested, you can definitely check out the whole article. But I think something that might be really fun to do this year, try and read a book from every country in West Africa, and then maybe next year I can tackle Northern Africa, and then following year East Africa, that kind of thing. Something that I've always really wanted to do is read a book from every country, either written about that country or written by an author from that country, something like that. I think that would be really cool. I'm just gonna read the books that they talk about, and the first one is Benin, and it says Snares Without End. For Cape Verde, it's the last will and testament of Senhor del Silva Arahu. Ivory Coast, there are two. The first one is The Blind Kingdom, and the second one is Allah Is Not Obliged. For Gambia, there are 3 books. The first one is The Second Round. The third one is Al-Hajj, or the second one is Al-Haji, and the third one is The Sun Will Soon Shine. For Ghana, we have Homegoing, which is on my list. My aunt has read that and says it's incredible. Ghana Must Go, The Housemaid, and The Beautiful Ones Are Not Yet Born. That title sounds familiar too. Guinea, we have The Dark Child and Uriyamu. Guinea-Bissau doesn't have one. Liberia, we have The House on Sugar Beach, She Would Be King, Jinn, Boy Interrupted, another one that I've heard of, and The Lazarus Effect, which is another one that I've heard of. Mali, we have Bound to Violence. Mauritania, we have Guantanamo Diary. Nigeria does not have one. Nigeria, we have There Was a Country. Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, which I have read. The Joys of Motherhood, Stay With Me, Under the Udala Tree, another one that I've heard of. Becoming Nigerian, Eferu, and lastly, And After Many Days. For Senegal, we have So Long a Letter, God's Bit of Woods, The Belly of the Atlantic, and Ambiguous Adventure. Sierra Leone, we have A Long Way Gone, Memoirs of a Boy Soldier. The Last Harmattan of Alusine Dunbar. And for Togo, finally, we have An African in Greenland and Do They Hear You When You Cry. I'm going to add some of those books to my Goodreads list and hopefully get my hands on a couple of them soon so that I can prioritize reading them in 2021. Right now, I have a meeting, and then I am going to do my little outfit cosplay situation. Peace out. Hi. How's it going? It is currently Monday now. I took the weekend off from vlogging because I spent the whole weekend with my partner, with my boyfriend Alexander, to celebrate our anniversary, and I really kind of just shut off from the world. I really didn't check my phone at all. I had so many messages and emails to respond to today, but I just kind of shut off, vegged out, and enjoyed our time together, so that was really nice and romantic. But now we're coming to the home stretch of this vlog because today is Monday and tomorrow, Tuesday, is my because all of my classes are online and things because of the pandemic, I have one day off tomorrow. It's called our mental health day, and instead of spring break, we're having that day off. So the rest of this vlog is going to be me trying to finish at least one, if not 2 books by the end of tomorrow, because I'm just going to really relax, do a lot of self-care stuff, and read a lot for fun tomorrow. Let's talk about the plan, shall we? I am currently 65% of the way through the audiobook for conjure women. But the real goal is I want to finish the lesson. I'm on page 100 and it's only 250, so I really think that I can finish this because I'm going to spend a lot of time tonight reading this book. In addition to that, if I finish the lesson, I think to mix things up, I'm either going to read a few chapters of Hood Feminism, which is my nonfiction read for the month, or I'm going to read some of the excerpts that I flagged in the Portable 19th Century African American Women Writers collection. Both of these I mentioned in detail a little bit more in my Blackathon TBR, so if you're interested, I'll have that linked up in the little card area. To mix things up from fiction to like some nonfiction, and I want to read some poetry that I flagged in here. I think I might do that either tonight to break up some of my reading of the lesson, or maybe tomorrow morning, something like that. Tomorrow is my brother's birthday. I have one sibling, and he's my younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me, so he's turning 20 tomorrow, and he loves eating food, so we're probably gonna get a lot of different kinds of food. That was a really weird way to say that tomorrow's my brother's birthday. I'm gonna go drink wine and read the lesson. Peace out. Hey there, notice anything different? I'm doing a face mask and my nose is itchy. Oh no. I thought that while I was doing this face mask, I would give you some reading updates because I have made incredible progress. If you're wondering, I am using the K Bella Bath and Beauty Mask, and it's the Relaxing Lavender Mud Mask. So, as promised, last night I stayed up until 3 in the morning finishing the lesson, and I really loved this book. I totally agree with Jesse that it might be one of my favorite books of Blackathon, although there's definitely a contender for the top spot that we'll talk about in a second. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. It's so wonderful and interesting. In the second half of the book, things really start to like fold in on themselves, which I think is really cool because like the image of the conch shell and like that like inward twisting is like a very strong theme in the book. I mean, we're on an island in the Virgin Islands. It's surrounded by the ocean, obviously, it's an island, but also the aliens who have like landed on the, or not landed, their ship like floats above the Virgin Islands. It's shaped like a conch shell. So the narrative itself starts to like fold in and weave all of these different threads together in a really elegant way, and I absolutely loved that. And also things just pick up really fast. So something that I hadn't really realized until I read the back of the book. I don't know why, but I always read the back of the book after I read the book, and I'm just like, what the hell, Addie? What are you doing? But this story hones in on a particular moment. It's like an anniversary of the death of a young boy who was killed by one of these aliens. The aliens argue that because they came from a very hostile planet, any aggression expressed towards them, they meet with immediate violence. So there's a scene where this dog barks at one of the aliens who walks past their house, which, you know, is a normal thing that dogs do, like protecting their territory, things like that, and the alien just rips the dog in half, which broke my heart, I'm not gonna lie, but it's that kind of thing. And so the main story in the present moment is the anniversary of that boy's death and the other events that coincide with that. I don't want to spoil too much by telling you what other events, but there are basically like 2 or 3 families. The back here says 3, so I guess we're gonna go with 3. So 3 families, and their fate is intertwined with this anniversary, but also with the aliens and with each other because they grew up together, and there's a lot of history. And then there's also jumps from perspective, so you go to different people's perspective. This face mask is starting to harden and contort my movements. And then you also have shifts in time, which is really, really, really cool. And another thing that I really love is that eventually we do get to see through the perspective of one of these alien people, because they can, like, kind of present themselves as human. They can, like, adopt a human, like, physiology. The end, just, like, whew, like, this is definitely science fiction, but I also get a lot of thriller vibes from it. And I mean, this is coming from someone who doesn't read a lot of thriller, but I mean, it was thrilling because of, like, that tension that Turnbull weaves so naturally into the narrative. I highly, highly recommend it. It's a pretty short read, but definitely packs a punch. So I absolutely love this, and I am hoping that I'll be able to reach out to some people on the science fiction fantasy team to talk more about it with a bunch of spoilers. So if you were on the team and you read this book, comment down below. Let's, you know, find a space other than this one where we can chat with a bunch of spoilers, because I don't want the comments to be filled with spoilers, but maybe like a Discord chat or like on Instagram and DMs. Just reach out and let's share spoilery thoughts about the lesson. Next, this morning / early afternoon, I read a couple more chapters of Hood Feminism by Mikki Kendall, and I'm really, really loving this. I am on page 113. Really loving this as well. I'm glad that I threw in some nonfiction into the mix and some educational literature to offset all of the fiction reading that I was doing, because this is my nonfiction read right now and I wanted to give it some attention this month and during this vlog. I'm really enjoying a lot of the insights that Kendall is sharing in this narrative. I'm obviously not done with the book yet, so I can't give fully formed thoughts, but I did want to share a quote really quick that I absolutely loved. It's from a chapter called "It's Raining Patriarchy," and it says, "Despite white feminist narratives to the contrary, there is no absence of feminism inside Islam, the Black church, or any other community. The women inside those communities are doing the hard and necessary work. They don't need white saviors, and they don't need to structure their feminism to look like anyone else's. They just need to not have to constantly combat the white supremacist patriarchy from the outside while they work inside their communities. But the patriarchy has more heads than the Hydra and must be tackled from all sides." So that quote really struck me, and it's something that I've been sitting with, I think, for the rest of the day, about the responsibilities of mainstream feminism, but also as a white feminist. My responsibility first to address white supremacy and white patriarchy, because that is the angle that I am taking, whereas women of color, specifically Black women, in the case of Mikki Kendall and her personal narrative, they are coming at it from dual sides almost, as like the inside their community, but also having to deal inevitably with the white supremacist side of things because they live in this narrative, at least we're talking about in America. And then finally, I literally just finished this book like half an hour ago, and I'm still recovering a little bit, and that book is Conjure Woman, and I found out that I have been mispronouncing this author's name. I am really, really sorry, I suck, but it is Afia Atakara, I think is the correct way to say it. I was listening to the audiobook. I started listening to the audiobook about halfway through, and then at the end they were like, "Thank you for listening to this book by Afia Atakara," and I was like, I have been pronouncing that wrong, so I'm so sorry, but this book. First of all, the prose is absolutely gorgeous. It's elegant. It is just so delicate and at the same time so precise and forceful, and I spent so much time when I was reading the physical book highlighting all of the imagery, like the nature imagery, the earth imagery, the imagery around conjuration and healing, because it is just like the narrative is saturated with it, but it is, again, it's like it flourishes. It is just like you are reading a garden. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? I don't even know. Also, the cover. I mean, I didn't have the dust jacket on at all, I don't think, during this video yet, but like, can we just appreciate how gorgeous it is. Another thing I really love is that this book jumps in time and also in perspective, just like the lesson does. So at some points we're following Rue, who is kind of in the sense our main character, and then at other times we're following her mother, who I have to go take my face mask off. And then we will finish talking about my thoughts on this book. I promise. I'll be right back, but I'm afraid to leave it on too long and see what that does to my face, so BRB. My skin feels refreshed. Let's talk more about this book. So, as I was saying, I really love the jumps in time, but also the jumps in perspective, so we get to know Rue, who's our main character, and it starts with her in the present, and she is living in the South, post-Civil War South, in a community of Black people who are still living in the outskirts of the plantation on which they were enslaved pre-Civil War. So they have sort of established their own community there, and Rue is like the conjured woman of the community. She does a lot of like the birthing, and she acts as a midwife mostly, but also like curing diseases and providing different natural remedies to things that are plaguing her community. So that's where we start with Rue, and then we get these jumps back in time right before the war, where Rue is young, so we still get her perspective a little bit because she's still a character, but mostly we're following her mom and how her mom taught her all of this knowledge, her mother's relationship with her father, who's enslaved on a different plantation, so he can't see them a lot. Then we get the third perspective, which is Verena, who is the daughter of the man who owns the plantation on which Rue and her mother are enslaved. And Verena is the same age as Rue, and they, because of Verena's forceful nature, Verena kind of pulls Rue into this friendship of sorts. I mean, obviously for Rue, she is treading lightly and following Verena's orders because she's a white woman and she's a little, I think, afraid and of what Verena would do or the consequences of not following Verena's orders. But she and Verena develop a connection, a relationship of sorts. Atakara does a really excellent job of demonstrating the nuances of their relationship and kind of how it becomes they are dependent on each other in the post-war time. The book is interesting. I think the first half is slower than the second half, but not slow in a bad way. So much happens in the second half, especially like the last 100 pages. Again, things just weave together and connect, and all of these things start to reveal themselves, and mysteries and bits of information that we've been like hunting for as readers throughout the book just like slap you right in the face and come out, and you're just like, what the hell? The last bit of this book just was the icing on a cake, but like I don't even want to call it a cake. It was like the dewdrops on a rich field of flowers. I'm gonna leave it at that. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. And tonight I'm gonna decide between starting 2 books. I'm either going to start The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson, or I'm going to start / continue reading The Fires of Vengeance by Evan Winter. But yeah, right now I'm gonna play video games, and then I'm going to pick a different book to start, and we'll see what happens. So, peace out. Hi y'all, I was planning on ending the vlog tomorrow, but then I completely forgot that I forgot to do the final challenge for Blackathon, which was to shout out an artist. I decided to skip challenge 6, which was to draw a character and have you guys guess who it was, because I'm not a very good artist. I'm good at like kind of looking at images and recreating them, but not like creating an idea that's in my mind on paper. So I am skipping that challenge, but I do want to shout out 2 artists that I follow on Instagram and also show off their different shops, because I want to buy something, I think, from each of these artists tonight, and I kind of want to show you guys what I'm thinking about getting so you can see what I might get, and then I can do like a little unboxing when I eventually get them in a future vlog or maybe on my Instagram. So yeah, we're gonna do that now, and I'm gonna record my screen so you guys can see. So we're recording screen right now, and the first artist, I'll have all their information for both of these artists linked down below, but the first artist I believe is from Pittsburgh, and her name is Trenita, I'm not sure how to say it. Finney is the last name, and again, I'll have all the information, but right now I'm just gonna scroll like a little bit slowly through like the first like slides on their Instagram page so you guys can kind of see their Instagram and how the aesthetic is. But then also she has an Etsy shop called Trenita Made It. Again, I'll link down below. And I gave hearts to 2 things, I think. Yeah, so I think I'm either going to get these stickers, which are called Gothic Black Girl Magic stickers, or the Gothic Art watercolor print. So I don't know which one I want, because I really like stickers, but as you guys can see, my laptop is just like chock full of stickers right now, and this is really the only place that I put stickers. So I might end up going with this wall print up here instead of the stickers, but I'm just gonna scroll so you guys can see. There's bags, there's stickers, there's like a pillow over here, some framed prints, see what else that there is. Yeah, so those are the things that are available on this artist's Etsy shop. I'm pretty sure this person is from Pittsburgh, which is where I'm from, so it would be so cool to support a black artist from Pittsburgh, which is where I live, and to buy either a sticker or a cute little canvas print. I've been really interested in collecting art pieces recently over the past couple of months because in the very near future I'm going to move out and have my own place, so I want to have collected several art pieces so that I can have them to decorate my apartment and or like place with when I get a place, and I think that it would be really cool to like slowly collect those things. Second artist I found because Jesse shouted this person out on their Instagram and I really wanted to check them out, and I followed them because I absolutely fell in love with their art style and their skill is just incredible. So right now I'm gonna scroll through this person's page, but she is Bri Pippens, and her like handle is B Peppers Art, and there's a link tree that you guys can go and check out all of this stuff. There's a shop and a Society 6 store, which is where I think I am gonna get something, but this one I'm just gonna scroll through so you guys can see. Both of these artists are just so talented. This artist Bri is I think from the DC area if I'm not mistaken. So many excellent prints here. I'm just in love. So a lot of these prints end up on this Society 6 page, which is what I'm going to show you guys now. Again, the page name is, or the store name is B Peppers Art, and there are literally like, here, I'm going to scroll through a little bit slowly for you guys so you can see like there are different kinds of prints for each art piece. So there's like art print, canvas print, framed art print, poster. Some of them are like, they have like little cards, wall hanging. Some of them are metal art prints. So I'm just scrolling through now, but there are literally 24 pages, and like please just go through and look at them, and like I think there's something for like anybody and everybody on here. So I liked a bunch of my absolute top favorites from B Peppers Art, and I kind of wanted to show you guys where I was leaning and which ones I was thinking about getting. So first and foremost, this most recent one, Glow and Grow, is just so freaking beautiful. I absolutely love it. I love the idea of like growth and how the hair looks like it's growing like upward with these plants. This gorgeous individual in this picture, I just absolutely love it. So that's one of the prints that I was really interested in. And again, it is the most recent one. Then there's this adorable recreation of the Powerpuff Girls, which I just think is so cool. And you can get like a small little version of it, so I was thinking that if I get one of the bigger prints as like a larger size, I might still get this smaller one, which I think is just like literally it makes my heart like explode with joy. I just think it's so freaking cute. So we've got the Cruella de Vil again. 101 Dalmatians is like one of my favorite Disney movies of all time, and I just think this Cruella de Vil like imagining is stunning. Like look at like the emotion and like the sass in the face and like the expressions, and like the smoke just looks so excellent. Like this whole thing is just calling to me. So that one is really cool. Again, this one, oh, the cosmic stuff that's happening in the hair. I love how this artist uses hair and mixes it with like nature or like the cosmos in this instance. I think that that is just so cool, so beautiful. Absolutely love it. So that's another one I'm very interested in. Okay, this next one I think is probably the one I'm going to end up getting, because if you guys know me well, you know I love mythology. I follow and read up on so many different pantheons, but this creation of Medusa just caught my heart and my attention immediately. I just think it's so cute, and like it's just so cutesy because you've got like the big eyes with the shiny heart things, or the shiny little things in them. You've got like the sleepy snakes and like the comb. It's just, I'm in love. I can't. I really want to get that one. I think I'm probably going to get that one. But then lastly, this one obviously really called to me. Oh my god, my voice is like dying. This one obviously calls to me as a reader because we've got like a big stack of books and the Black Girl Magic sweater. This individual just looks like a reader, and I'm a reader, so you know, we can connect through that, and I think that would be a really cool print. So again, I don't know which one I'm going to order yet, but these are my options, and I will let you guys know when I get them which ones I got, and I'll show them like in the physical when I get them via the mail. So yeah, that is the very last Blackathon challenge. Now I am going to probably go to bed, but I did decide that I'm going to start The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson tonight. I don't think I'm going to get very far because it's very late and I have class at 9:30, but I decided to go with this one, so that's really cool. So exciting! This week slash week and a half has been really fun, despite the fact that it started out a little rocky. I'm really enjoying this vlog, and I'm so excited to edit it and post it for you guys. So I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite. Peace.